What up? What up? Welcome back to the Sleuth Intuition channel. I'm your host, Patrick Vallejos. You can call me Sleuth. Looks like, well, me personally, I'm back to the Wabash River search. And it's just crazy. Two of the people that I really probably respect the most out of the content creators, Captain Howdy and the Fig, both put out a video today on the same topic. And in no way was it coordinated. We were also going over the very same thing in the Discord and talking about the live stream that we planned for today. Now, it's kind of funny to see the captain cover it and to hear Fig's opinion because they don't disagree, but they don't agree. In my opinion, the captain kind of leans to it being more possible that there's an Anthony Shots connection. And then you have Fig Solves, who is kind of saying, I'm just not seeing anything solid that would say that. Everything else is just circumstantial, even if that. But if you're anything like me, you play a lot into your intuition, right? Intuition is kind of like your subconscious trying to sense the facts. Trying to use your subconscious to see things that your conscious couldn't really recognize regularly or even articulate. But today we're going to replay a live stream I did, well, about 25 minutes of it, titled Delphi Murders, Are They Connected? This was right around the time Richard Allen first got arrested. So that will contain all of the basic information, and then we'll stop and go and I'll add all the updated information, like when the murder sheet interviewed Keegan Klein and the things that unfolded during his sentencing hearing, like the stuff about wife Lilith. We'll go back and talk about Keegan Klein's, the guy who was locked up with Keegan Klein, who reached out to another content creator who has been making content, actually covering this stuff as well. And it's just strange because I think it's just like-minded people kind of sensing the same thing. And the Unsolved was touching on it as well. And the person who was locked up with Keegan Klein, who made these claims, actually first reached out to the Unsolved, and I just screenshotted the comment. So we'll touch on that. But I think first we'll start with the replay. We'll get that queued up, and we'll get going in about 5 minutes. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'll play a little bit more. I did kind of skip a big chunk here. Nah, oh well. We'll just start it where we have it, where I plan to. Looks like Sandra gifted 1 membership, guys. So check your stocking. Purdue with the flex, 15-month member flex. Shout out to you, Purdue. Thank you so much. Thank you, Sleuth, for your continued excellent comprehensive coverage of Delphi. Justice for Abby and Libby. 100%. Thank you. Looks like Sandra gifted 2 memberships, guys. Go check your stocking. Okay, so I kind of laid it out. This is what you can expect to hear on today's live stream. And I'm not sure if I'm going to get to cover all of it. I'm going to try to. But this is how I broke it down. This is what I think possibly led to the arrest of Richard Allen. All right, so I start here with wife Lilith visiting Keegan Klein while he was locked up in jail. We know that was factual. We even go to this person who was locked up with Keegan Klein, who mentions Lilith, even drew a photograph of her, right? And a photograph of Keegan while she was visiting with him. We'll talk about what was revealed during the sentencing hearing of Keegan Klein, that apparently Lilith was courting Keegan Klein or manipulating him or convincing him that they were to get engaged and that she was going to connect him with the FBI and help him out with the Delphi case. Now, I don't know what motivated her to do that. Was she did she see an angle? She's hoping for justice. Was she motivated by the reward? Or does she know Richard Allen personally? Did somebody send her? Or does she have another possible close involvement? That I don't know. So we'll see that. I guess she showed a marriage license, bank account, certificate saying that once they made a deal, she was going to bail him out, all kinds of stuff. And then Alex Voorhees, you guys know Alex. He hacked into Keegan Klein's social media. We know from Lilith's YouTube channel that she posted briefly. Thank goodness somebody was able to screenshot that, but it said that it had nothing to do with what the murder sheet was talking about. It had everything to do with Alex Voorhees hacking into the accounts and her panicking and throwing a phone into the river. Now, what river that is, I'm not exactly sure. But what I do know is shortly after that, or just before that, the Wabash River search begins. So right around that time, we have them searching the Wabash River. KK is taken into ISP custody and meets with Nick McClelland to discuss the Delphi case at the Air Force Base, Grissom Air Force Base. KK's jailmate reported that KK confessed his role in the crime. Now, all this was happening. This was all unfolding at the same time, just like this. Now, I find it very strange that just after meeting McClelland to discuss the Delphi case, he's loose lips sinking ships in his jail all of a sudden, right? It's like he doesn't care anymore. Why does he need to be quiet? He's already told law enforcement what he knows. Maybe it's more of a character thing. Maybe he's not a good witness. Maybe it'd be hard to get him on that stand and hear him like blame his father and all this other stuff. So maybe that's why they haven't gone too public with any of that. Um, 4 weeks into the search of the Wabash River, the lost tip narrative is found and handed over. 2 weeks after that, the Wabash search ends. And then 1 week after the search ends, Richard Allen is being questioned and shortly after that arrested. Okay, so I think we'll start here, but that's basically where we're going to go with this. We're going to talk about Woodhouse. He basically confirms what Keegan Klein's jailhouse or jailmate said. He said that apparently Keegan was given 1 day to go out and spend time with his fiance. And according to Woodhouse, he doesn't have the video up anymore, but if anybody has the screenshots, I'm sure they'd be happy to share them. But he basically explains the story where a friend of his kind of was reaching out to him and saying, "Hey, guess who I saw? I saw Keegan Klein." And he's like, "No, you can't see Keegan Klein because he's in jail, facing all these charges." She's like, "No, like I seen him. We said hello to each other, and then he went upstairs." And something about a bottle of champagne or something like that. So I don't know if there's any truth to that, and I don't know if that's going to cause any legal ramifications. Not quite sure if it is true. Sensei, shout out to England. Try to stay warm. What's up, Cindy? All right, guys, let's get going here. See if I missed anybody. Julianne, Sandra Ficus, 1111. Good to see you. Jill, Purdue, Doris, Ruckus. Good to see you, Ruckus. Rob Lee. Ruckus, you are just in time. Good to see you, Doris. Mary, Donna, Big Bird, Patricia, Eminem, Nedra, good to see you. Thanks for the emails. Stefa, good to see you. Lynn. Ruckus, I never left the Wabash. Me neither. But now that the fodder has cleared, I think the rest of you folks are ready to talk about it. Mary Flynn, Charlotte, Hiawatha, Yankee, Santa Sleuth. Thanks. Ruckus says KK is connected, period. I agree with you. Well, let's take a look at some. This is going to be some of the basic information, and I'll fill in the gaps with all the updated info. Let's get going on this. And he almost got away with this one. So that is the tip narrative. There's a little bit more information here. Okay. So here it gives us the date. So this is what's going to kind of drive today's conversation. So at the beginning, it says in September. Here they give us a specific date, September 21st, 2022. It was Detective Leggett was provided a tip narrative. Okay, from Orion. Okay, now remember, September 21st, that's 4 weeks into the Wabash River search. It will conclude 2 weeks after this. And then about 2 weeks after that, Richard Allen will be in custody. So now we're like, what the hell is Orion? Let's take a look. So Orion allows the FBI and its partners to coordinate crisis situations no matter how many personnel are involved or where they are located. Now we have such a tool, a next generation system built from the ground up by our investigators and technology experts. We call it Orion, the Operational Response and Investigative Online Network. Orion gives the FBI and its partners a real-time online network to quickly and effectively coordinate efforts in crisis situations, no matter how many law enforcement personnel are involved, where they might be located, or how big the case.
What's up, Cindy?
Let's go back to that document.
What do you guys think about the DNA? I know they didn't talk about it. The defense memorandum didn't mention it too much. So they must have something, right? What do you guys think about the whole DNA thing? I know that there's DNA at every crime scene. Like we get that. Law enforcement likes to say that, you know. Journalists will ask, well, did you find any DNA? Oh, yeah, we found lots of DNA. Well, there's lots of DNA at every crime scene. There's lots of DNA everywhere, right? So the question is, do they have the killer's DNA? And do they have just enough of it to not exclude Richard Allen? What's going on with that? I find it strange that the defense didn't just make their whole argument about that. You know, it's not his DNA. He didn't do it. You know, if it doesn't fit, acquit. But they didn't.
So, and looks like this is the Orion identification number here. But the question is, who provided it? Why did they have it?
What's up, Tom? Good to see you.
September. What would be something that could trigger this, right? So we know during the month of September of 2022, they were conducting a search of the Wabash River. So I want to talk about that a little bit. So remember that date, September 21st, 2022, is when Leggett was provided that tip, or that information, that identification number from Orion. Okay, so I went back as far as September 1st.
Maybe you already voted.
And we can look at this one together. This was put out by Fox 59 on the 1st of September around 3 p.m. Delphi murders, potential break in the 2017. Mystery emerges after podcast hosts receive anonymous tip.
What's up, Katie?
So this is when the murder sheet was knee deep in this whole process here, talking about sources, kind of helping us lean one way or the other. So let's go ahead and take a look here. A potential
yeah, sees through. We can watch that Hammer and Nigel video again. We'll see if we have time.
Break in the 2017 murders of two teenage girls in Delphi, Indiana has emerged. Liberty German and Abby Williams were found murdered on the morning of February 13th, 2017, after German's sister dropped the pair off at the entrance of a hiking trail the day prior. Journalist Danya Kane and attorney Kevin Greenlee, who host the Murder Sheet podcast and have been following the Delphi murder case, received an anonymous tip that led them to the Wabash River in Peru, Indiana. On August 23rd, where they witnessed and photographed authorities searching the water with various tools. So one of their sources said, hey, you need to go down to the Wabash River. They're searching it because of Delphi. And here's a quote from them. We just kind of ran up there ourselves to see what was happening, and we witnessed a search of about 12 personnel in the river looking over things. Kane told Fox News Digital they had buckets,
Thanks,
shovels.
Donna.
They seem to have devices that...
Shout out to Donna with the super sticker. Thanks, guys.
We felt could have been metal detectors, and Indiana State Police vehicles were parked next to the river. We documented that, then looked at sort of a confluence of events that we felt were likely related based on what our anonymous sources have told us. Sergeant Jerry Pierce, public information officer for the ISP Lafayette District, said ISP did have dive teams in the area that day, but could not confirm whether they were conducting training exercises or a search. So it's like they didn't want to tip anybody off. He could not confirm any additional information.
Hey, Boston.
Indiana court documents obtained by Kane and Greenlee in May and August also indicate possible development in the case. On August 19th,
hey, Jamie,
the ISP petitioned the Miami County Circuit Court for custody of an Indiana man named Keegan Klein. Klein is currently in custody.
Let's go here to Jamie Hicks. Good question. Says that's very sus of Holly if she in fact tried to tip off Keegan. Now I don't know if she was trying to tip him off. I don't know if she was trying to trick him into saying something. I don't know if somebody sent her to find out what he knows. But somewhere along the way, he communicated that name Richard Allen to her, I believe, or she said something along the lines like, I know who really did this, and had Richard Allen's name in her phone. My question is, why would she throw it in the river? If she had any information, shouldn't she be handing that over to law enforcement? So maybe we can sneak a peek at that real quick. So this was the screenshot of a post that she made right around the time of the Wabash River search. And this is a YouTube content creator titled Wife Lilith, who typically we wouldn't talk about other YouTubers, but this person has injected themselves into the case, and we're talking about the Delphi case. But she doesn't like the Murder Sheet very much, the Murder Sheet podcast. And the Murder Sheet was out there saying, oh, well, our sources told us this, and it's Delphi related, and we knew about it. We got the heads up, and they were all over the news, doing cameos and guest spots. And you have somebody here, a content creator, who I believe has a lot of information, but can't say anything and is waiting to be like, I told you so. But also, it could be something more sinister or something much, much less important. But let's read this here. The river search is BS. I showed everyone on my channel on why the Murder Sheet claimed the river search was about Keegan Klein. Keegan Klein and I talked about Alex, the hacker, and I threw a phone in the river. OMG, people not associated. It's fake. MS are scammers. So at this point, it seems like she's trying to distance herself from the situation. Because if she didn't have any information, she definitely wasted a shit ton of resources for the state of Indiana, right? And typically, I wouldn't even mention this, right? But during the trial, or excuse me, the sentencing hearing for Keegan Klein, they brought it up. They talk about how this person here went and began a relationship with Keegan Klein while he was locked up, and they were engaged to be married. And there's rumors that at some point he was able to have a night out with her. And according to Brandon Woodhouse, the guy who received the leaked documents from the defense team, said that a friend of his told him that they saw him. I believe this person may have even worked at the hotel and either saw him getting ice or saw him walking through the halls or something. In Miami County for 30 counts of child pornography related charges dating back to 2016 and 2017. Klein has been previously linked to the Delphi murders. He was reportedly in contact with German the night before she was murdered, according to Fox 59 Indianapolis. He allegedly made plans to meet up with her at the bridge where her body was found the next day, but Klein denies that he had anything to do with the girls' killings. Hey, 63. Welcome. Okay, so here, let's go ahead and take a look at Keegan Klein's documents that were registered Cody?
with the court and made public, but everything that followed would be marked confidential. So I want you to notice the date here. Filed August 19th, 2022. This was the very day that the search the Wabash River took place. Okay, so you have wife Lola saying she's thrown a phone into the river. You also have this, a conversation between Mark Roberts and Keegan Klein.
So this is, I believe, Keegan Klein reaching out to Mark or conversing with Mark Roberts. So he just drops her number. He's pissed at this point. Something's happened. He talked with McClelland and a deal was made or something was made that they're keeping very hush hush for whatever reason. I believe they're able to. I believe they're able to keep it classified for whatever reason. But it says here, this is Holly's number. If you or anyone wants to contact her, she knows a lot about Richard. This is Keegan Klein to one of the leakers, Mark Roberts. And a lot of people consider him a meddler.
This is the day they started. If you want to take screenshots of all these, feel free.
Brown Skittle says, and Travis Trexler was arrested during that time too. So was Dirk Hayes. He was arrested for assault with a deadly weapon. Those charges mysteriously disappeared right around the time of the search as well. And that person moved out of state, moved out of Las Vegas, living happily ever after. So who knows? Maybe that's the source.
Verified motion to seal.
Hey, D.
August 19th. Motion to seal. Right here. The Sheriff's Department
Sorry,
be
Nedra.
authorized to temporarily place the defendant in the above captioned cause into the secure custody of Indiana State Police. So everything that any fruit from this here is confidential. We don't have access to that. Now, I'm assuming that's because they didn't want to tip anybody off. So he's basically, it looks like he's a confidential informant at this point. Okay. So we know that also took place the day the search began. Something else that's very interesting.
What's up, Jody?
Let me see, where do I want to go with this?
Better late than never.
Oh, here it is. Search concluded. This is just a quick little article.
I don't know, Cody. Ruckus says KK has
Okay, so
immunity.
the tip was provided September 21st, 2022. Okay, so that's basically just a few days prior
September 21st.
to this search being concluded. So now, did they find something at that point and they were still looking for a secondary object? Because the rumors were that they were looking for a phone and a blade. Okay, so I'm guessing they actually found the phone September 21st. But let's read this quick little article here.
Lisa says here, Lilith said she did that on August 9th. Yeah, I know it was right around this time. So I'm telling you, the timeline matches up. Lilith visiting KK, Lilith courting KK, Alex Voorhees hacks Anthony shots, Lilith panics, throws the phone in the river. Wabash River search begins. KK is taken into custody. ISP custody meets with McClelland. KK's cellmate, our jailmate, reported that KK confessed his role in the crime. 4 weeks into the search, a lost tip narrative is found. 2 weeks later, search ends. 1 week after the search ends, Richard Allen is questioned and shortly placed into custody.
The 5-week search of the Wabash River in Miami County is over.
What's up, Stacy?
The big question still looms. Is
Welcome.
it connected to the murders of Abby and Libby in Delphi? Indiana State Police confirmed to I-Team's 8 Richard Essex that police have concluded their search of the Wabash River in Peru. State police would not confirm what they were searching for or what they may have found. The search appears connected to Keegan Klein, the suspect in the Anthony Shots child porn case.
Hey, Tattoo.
It's also connected to the Delphi murders. The search began August 19th, the same day a court allowed state police to take custody of Klein under a sealed order. Anya Kane and Kevin Greenlee of the podcast The Murder Sheet
You
have
got
been
it.
following developments related to the murder of Libby and Abby. This is their quote. Obviously, Indiana State Police did not go on the record saying that, but we had sources who did tell us that it was Delphi related.
Crazy. So interesting. It's got to be tied. I want to give a shout out to Cindy Lean for sponsoring today's live stream. Looks like 63 Clocks gifted a membership to my channel. So check your stockings. And we have a longtime supporter of the Sleuth Intuition channel, Tom N, with the super chat. Let's read that right now. Maybe KK was a distraction to keep public out of the case and let the muddy water clear up. Doug answers as this, what's up on an interview? And we'll take a look at what Doug has to say about Keegan. We'll play that Hammer and Nigel again later.
What's going on, Don Spain? Thanks for calling in yesterday, man. That was awesome.
Contaminated. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, Anthony, you're right. KK said, I really like the prosecutor. He's a great guy. And he also said, I met with the guys.
Hey, Missing.
Or I met all the guys. Like all the guys of what? Of a team? The prosecuting team?
You might be right, Tattoo. Enough to include or exclude?
Okay, so at the same point that they received this tip narrative, they're finishing up with the search of the Wabash River.
I think it may be water.
Let's take a look at this here. Well,
Hey,
actually,
Lone.
I think I can show these first, and then we'll play the video. This is another way that they could be connected here. This is from Keegan Klein's interview transcript. And this is what they're saying to Keegan. When you're exchanging child pornography, that's obviously. And then when you're exchanging Dropbox links that go to your Dropbox, that's a different story too. Investigator tells Keegan Klein, Bud, from your Dropbox account off your phone, we have started one of the largest child porn investigations ever undertaken in the state of Indiana.
So what is that, just
That's
bullshit?
big. I don't know about you guys, but to me, that reads big. Like, that's big time, right? And I just think that it is possible that Richard Allen fits in somewhere in there, whether it's directly or indirectly.
Hey, Red Queen.
But connected to that account somehow.
Yeah, that's a good point, Donna. Because Barb McDonald asked Tobe, like, do you have DNA? He said, yeah.
Hey, Shadow.
Is it his DNA? Well, I don't know.
I think he'll take a plea too, Sam. I think he'll give us.
All right. I think we'll go just for the sake of time. So right around the same time that wife Lilith is talking about throwing phones in the river and the Wabash River search is going on, and Keegan Klein is telling people that she knows who Richard Allen is. You have a person who is locked up at the time, no longer locked up at the time with Keegan Klein while this is all going on, while Lilith is visiting Keegan in jail and telling him, let's get married. I'm going to help you with the Delphi case, and maybe she did. I don't know what happened with all of that, But let's take a look. This was a post left on another channel called The Unsolved. And this is what the jailmate had to say. Now, remember, this is shortly after Keegan visited with McClelland and a few weeks after the Wabash River search started. Richard Allen will be in custody shortly after this. Keegan told me that he created the catfish profile to talk to girls, but that his dad often used it as well. And he was the one who asked the girls to meet by the bridge. Keegan told me that they went to Delphi to meet the girls, but he stayed in the Jeep while his dad went down to meet them. Keegan told me that he did not have anything to do with killing the girls, but he helped dump them where they were found. Keegan told me that the feds offered him a dinner, a bottle of champagne, and a hotel room to testify against his father, where he could take his fiancée Holly out on a date. Keegan told me that he would not tell on his dad. It's their job to prove it. He also told me that the feds offered him immunity in exchange for his testimony. After being locked up in the 600 block of the Miami County Jail with him, I believe that his dad killed the girls, and Keegan was an accessory. There might be a third person involved. See, this is before Richard Allen was arrested. There might be a third person involved, but he never mentioned a third person to me. I saw the evidence pictures of his discovery, and now that I'm out and I can see more pictures of his dad, I personally feel that he matches the description of the bridge man, but I could be wrong. I base my opinion on the pictures and on what Keegan told me personally. However, the only thing that makes sense to me to all, and that he has right, it's the Fed's job to prove it. So what do you guys make of that? And here's some of the images that this person sent to the Unsolved, and I screenshotted them. This is a drawing that was done by the jail person that was locked up with Richard Allen, and I believe it was gifted to him. I could be wrong. It says here, well, I'm on TV again. Delphi, Klein. And originally she had her breasts exposed. You know, I'm sure, of course, she wasn't doing that. Probably just some jailhouse stuff. I don't know what, I mean, not sure what that was all about. And then he drew a picture of her. So we have all the records of her visiting him, you know, or the beginning of before the river search. Okay, let's watch the video I did on the Hammer and Nigel again. It's getting a little repetitive, but I want to hammer this home.
Welcome back to the Sleuth Intuition channel. Let's look back at the Hammer and Nigel interview with Indiana State Police Superintendent Doug Carter. During this interview, Hammer and Nigel fire off some really direct questions that put Doug Carter on the spot. In this video, we will focus in on the questions that seem to cut at the core of the mystery surrounding the case. The link to the full interview is in the description. Let's get started.
Is the guy in custody, Richard Allen, is he the only person being looked at in this investigation?
The million-dollar question. Judges recusing themselves, prosecutors keeping information hidden, and superintendents not speaking up will only fuel the conspiracy theories involving police corruption, in my opinion.
Right now, he's the one that's been that's now facing murder charges. So, again, we are not going to stop looking at other people until this is completely done and we have nothing left to do.
This was your typical Doug Carter response.
But you can call me the Riddler.
Never direct, always vague, borderline obtuse.
What did you call me?
We know that Richard Allen spoke with Dan Doolin. He told him that he was on the trails that day, at the same time the girls were thought to have gone missing. We know that Carroll County blamed the FBI for the lost tip. We know that FBI stated publicly they are not to blame.
Maybe this guy, Richard Allen, has been on the radar for a long time. Did he speak to investigators in the early stages of this investigation?
Hey,
Doug
Frederica.
Carter seems to get defensive here.
That'll all come out in due time. I'm not going to talk about Richard Allen today.
Is he serious?
I do not sense confidence in his voice.
Told you not to go there!
You're telling me the world has waited 6 years only for you to tell us the prime suspect came forward the day after the murder and was working at the local CVS the entire time, but you're not going to talk about this person?
Is he serious?
The search of the Wabash River, they're saying a source is linked to the Delphi investigation. Is it frustrating, especially when you see a police source confirmed?
They knew everything, all right? There was a leak from the inside.
Hammer and Nigel are asking some great questions. We know the search started August 19th. We know that's the same day they took Keegan Klein into ISP custody, with every piece of info relating to that situation being marked as confidential and hidden from the public. We also know the source they are referring to is the same source the Murder Sheet podcast is referring to here.
We had sources who did tell us that it was Delphi related.
It is frustrating. I will say yes. It is absolutely frustrating because
Doug Carter took this opportunity to stick it to whoever this police source was that was leaking information and potentially hurting the investigation.
this case is unlike any that I've seen in almost a 40-year career. So there are so many different tentacles to this.
Another great question from Hammer and Nigel here. Pay close attention how Doug Carter, aka
The Riddler,
responds.
Shame on us for saying something that might jeopardize that. So whoever this quote source is, I doubt very seriously that individual is a part of the core team.
If they believed he was not part of the Delphi case, not in a million years would they have responded the way that he did here, in my opinion.
The other name that's involved in this whole story is Keegan Klein. Has he been speaking to police? Has he been given some sort of plea deal to help police?
We'll continue to work on Keegan Klein.
We will continue to work on Keegan Klein. Okay, so I want to go back up to a comment. It's pretty relevant. And it's Bogey Greenstreet, one of our members. Good question, Bogey. Someone was engaged to KK. So shortly after Keegan Klein was sentenced, the Murder Sheet podcast did an interview with them, and I reviewed that interview on my channel. I did a review on that. And they go into that in detail. Let's check that out. He said the cops weren't lying, in his opinion, about someone using his Anthony Shots accounts. He said, I can't say his name, though. It will ruin his life. Law enforcement knows who it is. I know exactly who it was. Says that he met. We got a super chat here from Tom. During this time, there was so much going on that no one could make sense of all of it. There has to be something connected or nothing at all. Yeah, I think the connection could have easily have been removed. We did see some premeditated moves
from the Kleins early on with the whole Vegas and the jobs. But, that could be very similar to the Ron Logan thing, right? He knows how to avoid the law. He's looking for an alibi. He knows that people are going to find out he was breaking the law in other ways. So that could be the same thing that was going on with Keegan Klein. Like, yeah, I know that girl. I was actually reaching out to her, and now they're going to find out what I've been doing. So you could have that as well. But I think if there is any connection between Richard Allen and the Anthony Shots account, they spent a lot of time erasing that. I keep asking the question, and I know that a lot of people don't have Facebook, but they have some kind of social media. Richard Allen has absolutely none. What's his email address? It's like it's completely gone. And I know in the leaked documents, they sent out a subpoena to Google for Abby's email. So she had an email. So we haven't seen any of that information. Who's communicating with them through the email account? There's a lot that we don't know. With Nick McClelland at Grissom Air Force Base. Says the whole reason I talked to them because there was a woman I started contacting with. Okay, here it is. This is the part about Lilith and Keegan Klein having a fiance. So this is going to answer your question, Bogey. To them because there was a woman I started contacting with within here. She pretty much lied to me. She had her lawyer send me papers for like marriage to get married to her. I literally thought she was my fiance for the past year. Okay, so the question is, why did she do it? Why did she inject herself into this case? Was it for justice? She saw an angle. I'm going to have to be the one to kind of move the goalpost a little bit. And if so, did it lead to the arrest of Richard Allen? Or did she meddle? Was she motivated trying to get her hands on the reward? Like, oh, I'm going to act like I'm going to marry you. You're going to tell me what really happened. And then I'm going to be like, F you, give me, and then I'm going to take the money off in the sunset. Or did somebody send her there? Like, hey, I'm not really connected to Keegan, but I definitely was using this Anthony Shots account, or I was with somebody that is very connected to Keegan Klein. I need you to go see what this person knows. What do they know? I need you to go manipulate this guy and figure out what he knows. And then somehow during that, the information, instead of trying to get information, they ended up providing information to law enforcement. But I'm not sure yet. She said, hey, I will bond you out, showed me the money. She came to a visit and actually showed him the money. I want you to tell everything and get everything out there. And Keegan Klein is saying, I know I didn't hold anything back. Yes, 11. But he wanted to meet with McClelland to talk to him again. Something, you never know. He kind of mumbles at that point. So yeah, I went and talked to them, but she never did, obviously. Okay, so he's talking about going. So why would Doug Carter and Nicholas McClelland, the prosecutor for Carroll County, why would they fly Keegan Klein's ugly ass out there for this meeting? Why would they do that? They must have a pretty good damn reason to do that. That part also stood out to me. It's like he talked to her, basically says she fooled him. Sounds like he told her everything or lied to her, told her something. They either overheard, intercepted the information or something, but it obviously started the search, the river search. All right, let's see here. Oh, before we get out of here, I told you guys I was going to find this.
So during our last live stream, we touched a little bit about this guy, Rick Allen Hill, who was kind of bouncing around the Facebook groups about the Delphi Facebook groups. Well, I found the screenshot here of an encounter with this person. Okay, now notice the only trace of him left is people who are responding and tagging him. So this person must be posting questions. Let's see here. So this is a response. Rick Allen Hill. And look how it's spelled. No space. Rick Allen and then Hill. Like down the hill. Or it's just some person named Rick Allen Hill. But I'm speaking from years of recording experience. So it looks like he asked a question about the audio. I know, but I'm speaking from years of recording experience and the fact they also expect identification from a 1-second video that more closely resembles a Minecraft character as far as details go. Only worse because it's a blob. So this person is kind of giving, if let's say this is Rick Allen, what are the odds of that? I don't know. Maybe, who knows? But wouldn't he be giving him confidence? Like, okay, he's kind of searching for information on what law enforcement might have. Here's another response. Rick Allen Hill. I can't tell. So kind of giving us clues to what he might have been asking. I know based on the interview with Abby's mom, she said something about Abby saying that about a gun. See, so he's asking questions about a gun. And that's what I remember this guy doing. He was always asking about the audio, the video, if there was a gun, But it says here, but I have not heard it myself. Rick Allen Hill, or do you mean between guys and down the hill? So now he's talking about the audio. Interesting. So I told you guys I would find it. There it is. Okay, so let me know what you guys think. So you had the guy who was locked up in the same jail with Keegan Klein. He said something here about, let me see, where he could take his fiance Holly out on a date. Keegan told me that he would not tell on his dad. Oh, Keegan told me that the feds offered him a dinner, a bottle of champagne, and a hotel room. Now, what's very strange about that is that the Brandon Woodhouse person also stated that during a conversation between himself and Mark Roberts, that a friend of his told him that he's seen Keegan Klein at a hotel, I think getting ice. And he was like, well, it can't be Keegan Klein because he's locked up in jail and he's facing, multiple charges. Some serious shit. She's like, no, it's him. Like, I talked to him. I ran into him. I talked to him for a second. It's him. Now, this supposedly happened right around the same time that this information was provided to the Unsolved channel. Bogey says, is this a discussion about Delphi? Yeah. Guys, don't forget to hit the like button on the way out. And if you're not subscribed, hit that bell icon. It's right there. Click it. Members, we're going to be getting together tomorrow. It's been a while since we had a meeting together, but the holidays are just crazy. We will be doing a giveaway also on the 27th. So don't miss that one. We got another 5 minutes. Tom says with the super chat, thank you, Tom. I think law enforcement purposely leaked false info to Murder Sheet podcast to keep everyone occupied on KK while they focused on info they didn't want leaked. I mean, it is possible because right before the arrest of Richard Allen, some YouTubers were talking about the bullet. You know, it's got to be the investigator's prized possession. You know, they couldn't have anything spook the suspect into getting rid of that gun. That's what ties their suspect to that crime scene. And ultimately, it'll be the final nail in the coffin, I think, for Richard Allen. So they may have been onto him. And then the fact that people were starting to mention the bullet. Yeah, they may have wanted to distract people. And they were kind of at the end of their rope. Ruckus Rock says law enforcement doesn't just take high-risk inmates on field trips. He could snitch from his cell. He showed them where something was. I mean, there might not be anything concrete, but you can't ignore the time frame. The timeline on this is just berserk. I mean, you just cannot ignore that. 4 weeks into the Wabash search is when they find this lost tip narrative about Richard Allen. Come on, guys. What are the odds of that? That's insane. YouTube user, is the motorcycle cover connected to TK or KK? I don't know. I don't know a whole lot about that. All I know is that it's listed in the discovery. And it could be just something that was collected or found. Like, I don't know anything about that. I'm definitely not the one to ask about that, the cover. Sorry. I don't find it interesting. It could end up being something very invalid, but I'm just not. I choose to ignore that for now. Just like I did the F tree. But now we know that it's 100% real. And that was also leaked by Mark Roberts. I think on some YouTube page. And there's the original. So I don't know if we're going to call it the F tree anymore. I think we've decided it's Libby's tree. If you guys are cool with that. Bogey says, was KK ever given a lie detector test, or his father? I believe they both were. I think his father passed. They gave DNA, blood, and hair follicles. Humanimal, just part way through watching Fig's latest video. It's interesting. Yeah, and we covered that case of that creep. Oh, man. Yeah, so we covered him when the Anthony Shots information first dropped. We did kind of like a collection of CSAM, and we did a whole live stream on awareness. It was pretty good. Maybe we'll do a replay on that at some point. Hey, Anna. Has been said KK told 3 versions of events, told anyone anything they wanted to hear, got a free field trip for his efforts. Yeah, maybe. Welcome to the Sleuth Crew, Cynthia Gaines. Or should I say welcome back? Ryan Yeager. Those tentacles and complexities have not been shown yet. I agree. So either Carter is lying or KK is involved, as there is no way the shots account means anything. And remember, they say through the shots account they found somebody, right? Apparently a whole CSAM ring. One of the largest ever. And then we also have Doug Carter talking about multiple investigations stemming from the Anthony Shots information. No, I think the word he used was dozens. Ruckus says Richard Allen was already offered a plea deal. He didn't want to testify as to what happened in open court as part of the deal. Thank you, D. If you guys want to become a member, hit that link. Hey, Marcel. Hey, She Warrior, CJK, Sparky. All right, guys, that's all my time for today. Thank you so much for hanging out. If you guys haven't already checked out the Captain Howdy's new video, go check that out. If you haven't checked out the Fig Solves new video, go check it out. It's basically, a lot of it has to do with what we're talking about today, so it is relevant. So go take a, if you were interested in today's live stream, go take a listen to those. And members, I'll see you guys tomorrow, sometime around 6 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. And we'll do a check-in also tomorrow morning. So everybody have a safe night, safe weekend. Until next time, peace.